call because we maxed out without you being on yet.
Oh, I feel terrible.
So there's like 500 people on here, and then we all separated into Zoom calls so that there's probably hundreds more actually listening on Zoom. So you probably have a captive audience of about 1,000 going on.
I feel so special and pretty.
You should. You don't even see the slide, but I have a picture of us from the Sequins and Studs party where you wore that very bedazzled #1 stud shirt.
Oh, geez. Great.
So you are looking fly, my friend.
Oh, man. All right. Well, let's make, do you want to wait another minute or do you want to go for it? Well, since we got everybody before technology fails us.
Yeah, right. Okay, 1 second. I'm just going to pull up a couple of things. Oh, what a relief. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to get recording because there's a few people that couldn't be on, and they definitely want to hear from you. They've been All right, we're good to go. We are recording, and I just wanted to kind of give you a informal / introduction. So those of you guys who are on the call, you know that I won this little personal one-on-one call with Carl, and I am very blessed that in a couple weeks I get to go with Carl to Paris. And so I thought, you know what, I'd much rather give that time for him to speak to you guys and be able to share some of his knowledge and his experience with you, to be able to hopefully give you a bigger perspective of what Beachbody is, and to know the man behind the magic that is the company that we work for or work with. And so Carl, I kind of put together a couple different questions, and I'm hoping that, I know that once you get rolling, you kind of go with it, so don't feel like you have you have to have a certain amount that you have to answer anything, but I did ask some of my top coaches for some questions, and they pulled out some pretty good ones. So the first one that I wanted to kind of pop at you was a really good one because I feel like we're kind of locked and loaded gearing towards Summit. And it was a question by Miguel Carrasco, and he said, what would you say to a new coach that's still on the fence about making the investment to head to Summit in Nashville in a couple months? Where would your head be as a new coach, or how could you talk to those new coaches to share what they would get out of Summit?
Okay, well, so first, let me thank everybody for letting me be, on the East Coast, I know it's late, and for everybody to be on this call, it always blows me away that just what incredible leadership you must have to be able to round up this many people for a call with a CEO. I don't know, it just blows me away. But thank you guys for being on the call. And so, Miguel, so the question, I'm going to answer that probably differently than you would expect. I wouldn't cram Summit down anybody's throat. First off, it's going to be a packed house, and so it's the thing for people who really want to be plugged in to what this is about. It's not a thing for discount coaches. It's not a thing for people who are what I would call a pretend coach. They're really not working. They're really they don't have any desire. And I'm not saying that somebody can't turn the corner with another event. I just think that Summit might be, particularly one this big, could be actually disenchanting for somebody who hasn't found their enchantment yet. I would say that I would suggest for somebody who's just kicking the tires on this, that Super Saturdays or even national wake-up calls, like see if you can find what all the mojo's about, what is everybody so excited about on something that is not quite as big and eventful maybe as Summit. However, anybody who has aspirations of creating an identity in their community of being the person to go to for health, wellness, fitness, weight loss advice. I'm not talking about instructions. I'm talking about advice, sort of kind of like you don't ask a traffic cop how to drive, but a traffic cop is going to point the way to when to go, where to go, and so on. And, person you ask, anyway, you get the point that Summit is the place to go if you want to understand what it means to be a Beachbody coach or a team Beachbody coach, so that you can be of real value to the people who you're going to serve. And I wish we could fit 300,000 people in that stadium, but I think we're limited around 25, or I think maybe 30,000, something like that, and we're gonna cap out. But I can guarantee you, the people who are going to make money with this business, who are going to create wealth by helping people achieve their goals and lead healthy, fulfilling lives, those are the people who are most likely going to find a way to get there. It is a sign of seriousness, just like if you have another job and the boss says, hey, everybody, I need you to come in on Saturday because this is an important meeting. The people who are serious about getting ahead in that job, they're going to show up at that Saturday meeting. Or if you're a salesperson and there's a convention where you're going to learn something about being a salesperson, whether it's real estate or cars or whatever, and this convention is a place to learn about how to make the most out of this, to be number one, the people who are going to be great at it will find a way to get there. So that's really the question, is what is your aspiration? And if you aspire to be a Lindsay Matway, to be a Miguel Carrasco, to be a Melanie Mitro, or just one of these fantastic leaders on this team, to be the next leader, you got to be at this event, which defines the rest of the year for Team Beachbody. It is the event from which the theme of the next year, the incentives for the next year, and the new products, they are birthed this year in Nashville in mid-July. So I know if I was looking to achieve a goal, and it always breaks my heart when I see people, frankly, who sign up to do this. They want to pay off. They want to pay off their mortgage. They want to get their wife or husband out of a dead-end job and get them to spend more time with the kids. They want to pay for their kids' college education, or whatever the financial aspiration is, or they just want to be that pillar in the community that is the go-to person for weight loss and fitness advice. And they say that, and when you talk to them about why they're doing this, and then they don't show up for themselves. And Summit is a symbol of showing up for yourself. And you wouldn't open up a McDonald's and spend the $500,000 that it costs to open up a McDonald's and not learn how to run a McDonald's. Well, for $50 or $40 and $20 a month or whatever, this particular McDonald's is changing lives every day and has every bit of opportunity represented well by the leadership of the Bombshell Dynasty to surpass the wealth creation potential of a McDonald's or a chain, of owning a chain of McDonald's. I see the numbers. I see what some of these coaches are making, and it takes years for a franchisee of a fast food restaurant to get to the levels that these coaches are doing, that they have done with less investment, no less passion, no less investment of time and creativity and belief, but certainly a lot less investment in financial risk. And but it does, the other side of that is you got to go all the way with it. So if you want it, that's really what it is. And I don't say that with any judgment, because everybody has what's right for them. But if you want it, which is an important question to ask, if you want to give yourself a chance for success, it is nobody's job to get you to Summit or to figure out how to find you a sofa to sleep on or a way to sneak in the escape exit. No, I didn't actually just advocate that, but I know that if I couldn't get into Summit, I'd find a way to sneak into it because I wouldn't be locked out of the thing that I aspired to be a champion in. And that's what it takes. And so get there if you want to be truly central to what Team Beachbody represents.
Okay, so you heard it here first. If you can't afford it, just sneak in. I'm just kidding.
Now I'm in trouble.
Oh man. Okay, so one of the things that you said about, owning the McDonald's, that we need a far less investment, but no less passion, no less work ethic. And one of the other questions that was brought up, I think as a key one, is about failures and how to respond to those failures. And I know you as a CEO who's constantly developing new products, of course, you've had your fair share. And one of the questions was, how do you embrace those failures, or how do you use those failures to move yourself forward rather than letting it discourage you and run the other way?
Good question, and I'll use a couple of examples. First off, there's a great book that I'm listening to in the car. As you all probably know, personal development is a key or a vital behavior in success in the business. And for me right now, I'm listening to Seth Godin and his book, The Dip. And what's interesting about The Dip is he's very clever with how he subtitles it, How to Know When to Quit. And obviously it's kind of a clever way, because who would read that in terms of who would invest their time into a book to find out when to quit something? And so the real objective is how to get through the dip, or the difficult times, the failures, or the string of failures, to get on the other side of that. And the important thing to realize, and that I'm learning or relearning as I go through this audiobook, is that anything that has a reward at the end, that basically needs to separate people who are good at it and from people who are bad at it, needs to have some dip. There needs to be something that separates those, because we all have the same opportunity here. All the coaches have the same comp plan, the same products, the same specials, the same success club, and so on. So something has to separate us, whether it's style or commitment, passion and belief. And so that dip is the thing that the crucible, as it were, the rite of passage to get on the other side, to define whether you are worthy of this very difficult thing. And what's important is you can't think that resistance or that failure is unexpected. You need to reposition that in your head as being part of it. Otherwise, there would be no opportunity right here. If there weren't failures, if we weren't still trying to figure it out, if our websites didn't fail at the worst possible times, if our products didn't sometimes fulfill wrong, if everything worked perfectly, there wouldn't be any opportunity here for Beachbody and Team Beachbody, because it'd be too easy. What we're doing is so very complex, and it's interesting because I had a 2-hour meeting with our CIO, that's Chief Information Officer, today, and he walked me through. I did a real deep dive on what he does during his week, and we have such complex systems because of the way the business was set up, which was not originally intended to be under the same umbrella as Beachbody. It was called $1 Million Body when we first started it, and it was supposed to be a whole separate company. But then this idea of providing leads, customer leads, over to Team Beachbody, or to $1 Million Body people, that required some wiring between the two, but they're on different systems. You got a comp plan on one side, a different website, blah, 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 and all this complications, which created all these wires, which create a very complex and quite fallible system. So I met with, his name is Eduardo Frias, who joined us about 120 days ago, who's in a real knife fight to figure out how to make our technology platform and fulfillment platform work with 100% efficiency. You never get to 100%, but we sure would like it to be at 99.9%. And his day is filled with managing failures and then learning from those failures and putting projects in place that will then resolve those failures and hopefully solve them so they don't recur. And we spent a long time about, talking about failure, about looking at it as a way, as these are the opportunities that every time, you figure that every time you get a failure, you use that opportunity to improve rather than get dejected and despondent about, oh, I had a failure, but instead you go, I'm just going to get 1% better. I'm going to figure out what that was about and get a little better. And if you do that like 1% per day or even per week, that's 50% better at the end of the year. 50% better you're going to be as being a coach. So let's say you start the year, you're brand new coach, by 50, like if you're failing 100% of the time, you're going to be 50% better and hopefully only failing half the time, or maybe just you fail 10 times out of 100 or something. The point is that if you're not failing, there is no way for you to learn. And if you're not failing, or if people aren't failing, there is no opportunity here, because everybody will be top coach. And I promise you, it's impossible for everybody to be top coach. It's impossible for everybody to be LeBron James or Kobe Bryant, or whatever. Think of a standout in any field of play or any business. There's something that sets these people apart. So the question is, what do you want to be? Do you want to make it through that dip, that period of learning? You can't expect, somebody said on a wake-up call a few weeks ago, that you can't expect to take on, 12th grade problems when you're in kindergarten. You need to be able to have patience and be willing to learn. I wish my son would learn this. My 7-year-old, as I'm listening to this book, I'm thinking about, I've got to teach him. He wanted a guitar, so we got him a guitar. Now he's got to figure out, he's got to learn guitar, and that's hard. So you got to fail. The guitar has to sound like crap for a few weeks while you figure out how to learn how to play one chord, and your fingers are going to hurt, and it's hard to hold the strings down so that they make good notes, but eventually you make good notes, and then that turns into a bit of success, and you go, oh, I just learned something, and it turns into something. This is what I spend my time doing every single day. And as I'm listening to this book, one thing that I'm resilient, and that resilience is absolutely what has contributed to successes like P90X or Insanity or even 21 Day Fix, stuff that people said would never work, these little containers. Like literally, who I was paying to help me create programs in production were like, this will never work. You're never going to get results in 21 days that will compel people as much as something that they do for 90 days. And it's like, no, they repeat it, and they're going to see fast results in 21 days, and they'll be blown away, and then they'll repeat it, and we'll show people who've done it for a year and lost over 100 pounds. I'm like, yeah, but people want to understand it, da-da-da. And this, this is right now. Who would have thought that after 17 years we'd have our #1 program in the history of the business after 17 years? Like, you would think that T25, which was a monster, PIO, which was a monster, and then comes along 21 Day Fix and 21 Day Fix Extreme, and they're blowing it away. So the point is that this is not your last act. That sales opportunity, or that sharing opportunity, let's call it that. It's real if you look at it as opportunity. It's brutal if you look at it as your next rejection. So when you make that approach, when you open that conversation, you need to look at it with a few outcomes in mind, not just two. Sorry, I'm going on a little bit long, but I'm reading a lot, so all this stuff is sort of like Niagara Falls falling into my head. So normally people, especially new coaches, will look at it as, I'm going to talk to this person, I'm going to see if I can find out what their goals are, and they're either going to say yes to me or they're going to say no to me. And that's actually not true. It's true in some cases, but there's actually more options to that. And here are the options. First option is, favorite one, before you can even get the word Team Beachbody or 21 Day Fix or PIO or T25 out of your mouth, they say yes. And can I have the Shakeology too? That sounds like such a good deal. I can't wait. I'll take the challenge pack. Actually, put me 2 challenge packs because my kids need to drink the shake too. Isn't that the dream? That's option 1. Option 2 is they say, I'm not sure. And in the case of I'm not sure, you go back to, now there's part of the premise here is you're not pitching, you're not vomiting to them, trying to sell them something. What you're trying to do is solve a problem for them. The problem is what they said they wanted to achieve. So your coaching doesn't start after you've made the sale. Coaching starts the minute you find out, the minute you are successful at finding out what their goal is. If their goal is to lose 20 pounds or 10 pounds by Memorial Day, so, and that's a conversation starter. Hey, you got any plans for Memorial Day? Right there. Write that down. That's an opportunity now for the next 3 weeks. Got any plans for Memorial Day? Oh, yeah, I do. We're going to a big party, blah, blah, blah. Oh, is that like one of those swimsuits? You know what? I've been working out because I want to feel good in the swimsuit. Are you doing anything to prepare for summer, blah, blah, blah? Or however you get to the conversation, depending on who you're talking to. But right now you've got 21-day fix that you can talk to them about. They still got a window. They could do 21-day fix if they wanted to lose weight. Or as they get closer, they got 3-day refresh. Or maybe they'd like to look good and feel good and have energy all through the summer. You can pitch a P90X3 or P90X or whatever, or T25 or Insanity Max 30. The point is, you begin coaching when you ask the question, what do you want to do about your health and fitness? And where you're clever, and where I'm actually so impressed by our leaders, like Lindsay, who have the ability to start that conversation. People who are shy and not necessarily gregarious, but whether it's the art of social media or the art of understanding how to work the PTA, they have the ability to start the conversation one-on-one with people. And the conversation leads to either the person saying, I'd like to do that. I don't know what you're doing, but I'd like to lose 5 pounds in 3 days. Or I don't know what you're doing, but I need to start working out. Once you know that, you have just started coaching. Not making the sale, you have just started coaching. So now, option 1, they say, great, I'll buy that. Option 2, they say, well, I'm not quite sure. And then you get to say, wait a minute, you just told me that you wanted to do that. You just told me you wanted to lose 5 pounds in 3 days. And then they say, well, I'm not really sure if those things work. I'm not quite sure. What is your backstop now? You've got the money back guarantee to turn that I'm not sure into a yes. I will remind you before the 30-day money back guarantee is up so that you can actually get started now, because you're going to feel better so fast that I want to see you get started now rather than wait. Or they say to you, what is the other one? Oh, they say to you, no, that kind of thing never works for me. So it's a firm no. This is the third option, at which point you say, you know what, it's totally fine. It's either the kind of thing you want to do or not the kind of thing you do. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be doing this job. I'm going to Summit in a couple months. I'll tell you what the new programs are. They're going to be very exciting. We got Beachbody On Demand. We got all this stuff that you could check out, but I don't want to force you to do anything you don't want to do. But I wouldn't be surprised with 200 million people in this country who are overweight or obese that you know some people who might want to be a part of my challenge group, who might want to feel better about themselves this summer. I've got my pen out. Can I write down the names of anybody who you think might like what I'm talking about? Just 2 names would be great. That's option 3. And option 4 is the learning opportunity. Option 4, they say, no, I'm not interested in what you've got, in what you're doing, and no, I'm not going to share any names with you. And your response to that is, wow, I thought we were having a good conversation here, and I want to do better at helping people achieve their goals to lead healthy, fulfilling lives. What could I have done better to make you feel comfortable with me to either get started with me or feel comfortable with me so that I could help some of your friends get healthy and fit? Because that's what I'm about. I'm not trying to, yes, I make a commission out of this, but I don't make a substantial amount of money unless they stick around for a year. So I do a lot of work to help people have a good experience here. So I need to know what could I have done better in this conversation so that you would feel more comfortable to recommend friends to me, or perhaps have given me a shot? So those are the 4 outcomes. If you put those 4 possible outcomes on an index card, now you're a professional coach, and you're going to make it through that dip, because you're not looking at it as a binary black and white sort of outcome. They'll say yes or they'll say no, and if they say no, I'm going to feel bad about myself. No, instead, you're a mature professional who's going to do either the 3 outcomes that we talked about, or you're going to be a professional that learns from that next outcome and gets better and better. And if you get better with every one of those conversations, look out, Lindsay, look out, Melanie, because that person is going to run the table, because that person is going to be a great coach. Did I answer the question? I sort of went in a whole new thing.
Yeah, I think you answered it. I think that was good. Let's see. Okay, so it's hard because there's a couple good ones in here, but I wanted to ask this one for sure because I think there's a lot of newer coaches that struggle with this. So obviously, our biggest goal is to help people achieve their dreams. So like healthy and fulfilling lives, they want to be able to help these people, but they struggle with the thought of actually asking for the sale. And so I had a coach, Becca Robinson, who's 4-star diamond. She asked, how do you bridge the gap between wanting to help everyone and wanting to be a successful businessman or woman? How do you avoid people taking advantage of your passion to help?
Well, you know, there's a mentality behind that is that I can save you, right? So there's a mentality that you need to check. And because you can't save people, you can be there for them, but you cannot save them. They have to step up for themselves, or it's just not going to happen. So that's where you draw the line. So remember, I talked about that moment when coaching starts. Somebody goes on your Facebook and they're like, wow, I'm so blown away by the results you got with PIO, or let's use T25. I'm so blown away with the results that you got from T25. I'd really love to get those results. Hey, great, I'm starting a new challenge group, would love to support you, blah, blah, blah. And that person doesn't step up, and they go, well, can I borrow your DVDs? Or, you know, they're just going to be a taker. And you say, well, no, these are my DVDs. Maybe I loan you until you get yours, but you got to buy them first because I want you to be all the way in to this. And you get a money back guarantee. So if you don't like it, you can get your money back. But you will not get results with this program, just like you haven't gotten results with other programs you've tried, if you are not willing to commit to it. And it's kind of like, you know, and I'm sorry for going here, but it's kind of like an alcoholic. Like, if you have to be there to take the drink out of the person's hand every time, it's just a matter of time before you're not there. And so what good did that? They didn't build any muscles for how to manage their behavior or their priorities in a way that will serve their goals. And I don't even say that with any judgment. I'm saying whatever their goals are. So in the case of weight loss, if a person wants to lose 10 pounds, the question is, are you willing to do the work to do it? Because I'm here to help people who are willing to do the work to do it. Again, I'm not a limo driver. I'm a traffic cop. I'm not driving you there. I'm going to show you how to get there, but you're the one that has to drive the car. And that is an important boundary to set, because it's not a while it turns out to be good for the coach, it's really not selfish. Because if this person doesn't learn how to build the muscles now, if they don't learn the initiative, as soon as the support is gone, they're going to put the weight back on. And you know, it's tough love, but they've got to learn to step up for themselves. So that's why we always say vital behavior number 1, invite, 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 or share, 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 or whatever. But that does not mean you do the work for people. It doesn't mean give, give, give. It means give people the opportunity to step up for themselves so that they can build the muscles that we've all been lacking, and that is the power to choose health, the power to choose love, the power to choose activity versus lethargy, the power to make portion control and have and exercise self-discipline. That is a difficult behavior to learn, but you surround yourself with like-minded people in challenge groups and you can learn it. but they have to step up halfway. Okay, long answer. Same. That was the answer, though.
No, I think you're totally right. You have to meet them halfway. And if they're not willing to put in that work and that effort, you guys have to understand that you have to set boundaries for how people treat you and understand your worth as a coach. And we go over this all the time. I have a new coach call that we do. And I talk about, you guys have in Beachbody, the nutrition side locked down, obviously. And you have the fitness side locked down. But the whole reason the network exists is because most people out there don't have that one person who believes in them, who's willing to be their accountability partner, who's willing to walk the walk with them. But you also have to go at their pace. So if they walk, just like I say with all my new coaches, like if you walk, I walk, if you run, I run. And if you sprint, I sprint. I'll go at the pace that you go. I'm going to match your efforts. You guys have to set those boundaries with people. Otherwise, they will take advantage of you. And like he mentioned with the alcoholic, I relate a lot to that. And you have to make sure that you cannot do it for them. And you can't put that kind of pressure on yourself as a coach. If you are doing 3 battle behaviors, one of those being a product of the product and living this, then that's all you're really required to do as a coach. That alone will inspire someone else to change their life. You can't help them do it. They have to want to do it for themselves, but you can inspire them every single day with your actions. So good answer, Carl. All right. This was a biggie, and I'm not going to keep you much longer, but it always comes up, and every single time you have questions is the whole international thing. And obviously we have Canada open, and we have a huge Canadian presence in the Bombshell Dynasty. And they wanted to see, what have you learned from expanding Beachbody internationally to Canada, and what does the future of international look like for Beachbody?
Okay, so great question. Obviously, we want Beachbody to be everywhere, and that's just the reality. The mentality, the mission, the concept of connecting people, like, it'll feel so good to me to know that this is available in any market where people aspire to help people achieve their goals to lead healthy, fulfilling lives. Like, that'll be great. But launching Canada was very complex. If anybody remembers, I think we did it 18 months later than we wanted to, and to actually officially open it up. And then even once we did, the difference between the dollar, the U.S. dollar, and the Canadian dollar went haywire, and we've had to make adjustments there because we were losing money every time somebody bought something in Canada. And like literally, I hope they don't buy anything because we keep losing money. Like under no fault of our own, just foreign exchange rates, we were underwater. So we had to correct that. And it was a slight correction, but nonetheless we had to make it happen. And the systems that relate between an entity in U.S. and in the U.S. and an entity in Canada, so that we can transfer product, and there's like all sorts of tax and legal implications and Shakeology and what defines a food versus a supplement and all these things. It's so much more complicated than you would think in today's world, but that's the hand that we're dealt. And one of the things I love about the U.S. market is, look, the U.S. market, if you were to compare it to Europe, each state would be like a little country. And imagine having what they call VAT taxes, value-added taxes, between each state, so that every time you sort of crossed a border from Florida to Georgia, you'd have to pay a different tax, or there'd be a different currency or whatever. So like all these issues exist for whatever the next market would be that we go in. Plus, we happen to be dealing in something that is what they call intellectual property, or fitness programming. So there's translation issues. I mean, we're barely scratching the surface as it relates to the U.S. and Canadian Hispanic market and Puerto Rico. Like, we're barely getting that right. And so contemplating further international expansion at any kind of rapid clip is precarious if we want to live up to our mission. Now, if all we wanted to do was profit and grow revenue as fast as possible, we would be everywhere as fast as possible. But that's not my objective. My objective is that people use the products and they get great results, so they never have to apologize to friends and family for introducing them to this opportunity. I never want somebody to be able to say scam or pyramid when they talk about this business, because we don't lead with the financial opportunity. We lead with the opportunity to help people. And to do that, it's got to be appropriately executed in a way that is both financially viable and from a user's perspective, holistic. So now that we have digital and Beachbody On Demand, that'll open up some opportunities for us. But with all the legal and the tax and other issues, it's going to take time. But here's the great news. The U.S. and Canada, the opportunity here transcends anything that I've ever seen before in my life. I think that it is a $5 to $10 billion a year opportunity right here in North America. And I believe that. And when I talk to network marketing people, by the way, they always look at me and their eyebrows, like one eyebrow goes up and like, what are you, smoking crack? Like because network marketing generally does not transcend $1 billion in the North American market. But that's because these guys, other guys, they run through distributors, like basically the whole distributor force replaces itself every year because the promise is not kept, because it's not about the product, it's about the financial opportunity. And not that people spin out too fast before they give it an opportunity, because the underlying product is not what it's about. Because ours is about helping people, if you get people with their heart going into it, we can make this opportunity transcend anything that's ever been achieved in network marketing right here in North America. And that doesn't mean we're sitting on our hands. We're absolutely looking at international markets, and I expect this to be everywhere. But we've got problems to solve here: fulfillment, technology, customer service, like all that stuff has got to get fixed. And we have to just get everything prepared so that when we execute it, we do it in a way that keeps the promise. So it's a vague answer. It's a bit of an abstract answer, but it's the real answer that, I've got a board of directors that would love to see this company be multinational. But unfortunately, they've got a chairman and CEO, or I would say fortunately, who values the effect that we have on the customer more than I value what they call a hockey stick of revenue. We're growing fast anyway, but it could grow faster if we expanded faster. And I watch other companies do it, and I watch them just thin themselves, just dilute their energies in a way that looks like they're just sort of picking all the low fruit off the tree, and I have no desire to be that company. So we'll get there, just not as fast as everybody wants.
Amen to that. You guys have to understand, and we talk about this often too, is if you were to go in a restaurant today and yell, like, who in here is a Beachbody coach, or who in here is Tried Shakeology? I mean, there's still such a vast amount of people out there that have never even heard of this, don't know anything about Beachbody. The only thing we kind of get jaded by on social media is because we all become friends with each other. And so we see in our newsfeed all day long each other's posts. But if you were to be a normal person in the outside world, I really don't think you would think this is an oversaturated business at all. If you were to look especially at other network marketing companies and how many of them there are, and there's some that I haven't even heard of that have over 1 million reps. We are about to hit, did we hit the 300,000 mark today?
I doubt it. I didn't see the numbers, but no, I don't think we'll get it today. I think we might get it midweek.
Okay. So we're about 300,000 coaches. Of those, do you know how many are actually active or like active in the business, work in the business?
Well, active is a meaningful number. So it's close to 2/3, I think it's 191,000 or so qualify as active coaches. But sometimes you can get active just by virtue of your own purchasing behavior. But by virtue of, summit registration, I would say that in terms of working the business, I would guess you've got about 60,000, maybe 75,000 of the roughly 300,000.
Yeah. So you guys, oh man, just.
No, that's nothing. I mean, Lindsay, like even in that same restaurant, if you were to yell out, is there a doctor or a nurse or a pharmacist or a dentist in here? Out of 300 million people in the U.S., maybe 5% of the population would say yes to that. 5%. And we're all not surrounded by doctors and nurses and dentists and pharmacists, yet we all turn to them regularly. All of us turn to them at least a couple or one time a year or something. So the point is, there is so much room for this thing that is a problem faced by 200 million people in this country that they struggle with, that undermines their self-esteem, their energy. I talk to people who, like, they won't get in family photos. They are ghosts in their own families because they're embarrassed by how they look. The opportunity is like a virus. It's rampant, and we have to see beyond ourselves that we have literally just started, but we have the benefit of all this TV exposure. We have the benefit of this outrageously amazing shake, super high potency, particularly beneficial to people like me who don't like vegetables, and there's a lot of me out there, and it's just a matter of work and courage and those 4 things. So when you open your mouth to talk to somebody about it, don't think about, do they know another coach? Don't think about, have they said no to somebody else? Maybe you're going to click with them, but get to one of those 4 answers. Is it a yes? Is it a not now, which you turn into a yes? Is it a no, but I know some people that might do it? Or is it a flat out no from which you learn? That's it. Right there is the business. And if you want to be great at something, you go for it and you work it.
Amen. You embrace the failures and you keep moving forward. You learn from your mistakes. You guys, literally, this is built, just Carl built it brick by brick. I've built it brick by brick. We all started at ground zero, and you guys have the opportunity of a lifetime sitting in front of you. And obviously you see from Carl, he's just a normal person, but he is so dedicated to what he believes in and what he believes in this business. And it's the reason why I feel so humbled and thankful that I am a part of this. And you guys are on the ground floor. When people say like, oh, I wish I would have started with you a couple years ago or whatever. No, please. It's so much easier to be successful now with all the tools and things that we have in front of us. Take it and run with this opportunity. It does take time. Every business, anything worth having, takes struggle and trial and error and failures and failing forward, but it is so worth it. And I know Carl would agree with me. It's amazing to look back, these past few years and see how many lives have been changed. But I also look ahead of me and I'm like, my gosh, I cannot stop because there's so many people ahead that have the opportunity to completely change their life because of this. So I hope that you guys do take what he said and run with it and know that you're a part of an amazing company and know your own value. And Carl, just thank you so much for spending some time with us. And we really appreciate everything that you guys do behind the scenes and that you see us, you hear us, and that you're working hard for us every single day.
My pleasure. And thank you guys for getting on a call on a Monday night. And you're pushing 10 o'clock, and I sure do appreciate it. I'm going to get with the family now, have dinner, and then let me see here. For anybody who's, 2 things. Two last things to say. First, as you know, I do my challenge du jour. Tomorrow I'm going to post it in a little bit. P90 Sculpt B is what I'm doing as my Beachbody challenge du jour inside Beachbody On Demand. So I'm going to post that today. And I also want to remind anybody who's a new coach or who's signed a new coach, or if you were a diamond rank or below coach as of the first of the month, that if you're in the top 100 success point earners for this month, so that's between diamond or all the way down to brand new coach. I don't care when you sign this month, but if you're in the top 100 of Success Club point earners in that subset of the network, I'm sending you a postcard that I'm going to hand pick when I go to Paris, when Lindsay and I are over there with the other top 10 elite. And I'm going to get a stack of 20 euro bills, I guess you call it, and frame them, and I'm going to sign the postcard and congratulate you and send it out. I did this last fall, and it was a bit of a hit, so I hope you go for it, and I hope your name's on it. If you go to my page on Facebook, you'll see an example up there, but that's the special. So whoever's in the top 100 for diamond or below coaches in Success Club points for May, I'll be sending you a framed postcard and 20 euro bill that we'll pick up when we're in France sometime in June. So thanks everybody for being on the call, and Lindsay, as always, thanks for all your hard work and leadership. Appreciate really everything you do, and Billy and Little London.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Have a great night with your family, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
You got it. Bye-bye.
guys, that was it. I am so excited to go and change more lives.
Trevor, what'd you get out of that? Just gotta. Oh, hold on a second. I just gotta unmute you. There you go, my man. What did you get out of that?
I don't know. I'm processing that. I've never been on a call with Carl before. That his answers were just powerful.
Yeah, look at you smiling, eh? Man, it's like when you came to me just back in December. I told you, if you believed in me and you believed in the process, it's going to change your life. Now, I know things are a little slower for you right now, but you see where I've come from, man. Like, you've seen it firsthand, right?
Well, and I mean, that's why I came to you, you know. I related to your story, you know. It wasn't exact. It was a little different, but, you know, and because I did that, I understand that point. That's who I have to be for people to come to me too, right? They're going to come out of nowhere.
Yeah, you got to be yourself, and like everybody has their own story. So you can't be like, I can't be a Scotty Hobbs, I can't be a Caleb Thompson or Thomas, right? I can't be a Trevor L. I can't be a Benita. The only person I can be is me, right? And that's the same with you. You be true to yourself, and you know what? Just be consistent, man. If you're consistent, it might not happen overnight, but I'm telling you, give it some time, and if all else fails, you'll have an incredible second income because you'll be rocking it, right? Like, you have your business as it is, and this could be your second income. Like, give it time. Like, I was looking at some numbers the other day, and one coach, she kind of showed her what she was making over time. You know, it started from like $100 a month, and then it jumped up to $1,000 a month, and then, you know, 6 months later she was at $3,000, and then I forget what it was, like 10 months later she was up to 5,000, and just jumped like from 5,000 to 10,000 in a matter of a few months, right? So I know it's sometimes it seems tough, but if you fall in love with the process and you fall in love with actually helping people like Candace, it'll come together, man. Like, I'm still learning a ton as we do this day by day, but it's fun. It's fun. So I'm glad you jumped on the call.
I've got my people coming to me now finally, and you know, I wish the rest of the team, like, now I understand your point now. The team doesn't realize how important these are. Like, this is the Super Sunday all over again. Especially on calls like this.
Absolutely. But you know what? I didn't post this one. I didn't tell people about this one. But I knew I was going to record it for the team anyway, so they can see it. Not everybody has time to jump onto these things all the time. But jumping on when they are live like that, like, we just listened to Carl Daikeler talk, and it was inspirational to me. You know what? He's the head honcho. Like, he knows what's going down, right? So you jump on these calls, you listen. If anything you get out of it, you get motivated for the rest of the week, right? It's Monday. I'm fired up. I'm going to hit Success Cup 20 by the end of this week, right? My goal is 25 for the month. So from Super Sunday, I've seen you grow. I've seen Carolyn grow. I got a few new coaches that have jumped on. Vanessa's jumped on now. She's been inspired by Super Sunday. She was on last night's call, and she's a brand new coach. I have another coach, Amy, who just started, and she's already signed her first coach. And she doesn't even know what she's doing. Like, this is what you got to do. And she signed her friend, and now she's going to sign her mom. So she'll be Emerald right away. But yeah, you guys are. I think this month we're really going to see a difference in our team and who our builders are, right? The last couple of months, it's kind of been like, I'm actually afraid to see the ranks on Sunday. But you know what? At the end of the day, like I always say, if you guys are growing, rank means nothing to me. As long as you guys are growing and you guys are working on yourselves every day, I'm happy, and that's what this is all about. Because I know my time will come, right? I just got to keep doing what I'm doing, keep leading by example, and keep pushing you guys and motivating you guys, and that's it. So I'm glad you jumped on the call. I'm gonna upload this to YouTube and then put it in the group.
Last night after our call, I went through my like page, and the last 15 people that liked my page, I sent them a message. And thank you for liking my page. Are you into health and fitness as well? And 3 of them messaged me back, basically said, no, I'm not really interested. They don't even know what I was talking about. But after listening to Carl here, I'm going to reply right after we're done here.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's like our previous call. Go for no. Like, it doesn't matter. You don't need to. You're not trying to sell. You're trying to change people's lives, right? And we're showing opportunity to people that need that. And if they don't understand that, then that's okay. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to stop what I'm doing because I know people need my help. How many people? How many coaches? 300,000 coaches. How many coaches are working the business? 60 to 75,000. That is it from Canada and the US. That's
That
it.
is unreal.
With 200, what did he say? 200 million people? Or was it billion?
Yeah.
I don't know. One of the two. How many people need help? And how many people are afraid to ask for help? You talk to people, you form. It might not happen today, but it will happen in 6 months, in a year, right? Who cares? I'm in this for the long run. I don't care when they come out, right?
If they come to you 2 years from now, you
I don't
still
care.
won the battle.
I'm still here. You're still here. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Is I am way in too deep to quit what I'm doing. Even if I lost all my coaches tomorrow, let's say all of you guys just said I'm done, I can't do this, I would still be here because I'm way too invested. I've got books out of my butt. I just bought some video camera lights for the basement yesterday. I'm too invested in this to give up. So that being said, I'm just going to push forward, and I hope the team gets that too. But at the end of the day, unless you're talking to people, you're not going to grow. It's like Carl said. You have active coaches, but it doesn't take much to be an active coach, right? But it takes a little bit of effort to become a growing coach. And at the end of the day, that's what I want my team to be. And we last month showed it. Not a lot of people hit that Success Club 5, but I had people that were on the board that weren't on the board before, and to me, that's impressive. And that's what makes me realize that people are going to grow. So,
well, Candace made a comment. She's got 2 people that want to sign up already. I'm going to try and get her to turn him to a coach right off the bat.
yeah, absolutely.
Make her emerald right now.
Absolutely. And that's how you do it. Show them the success right away. Then they know it's not hard. Right. So keep it simple. This is recorded.
What?
This is recorded. Hi, Trevor.
What's in the way there?
Hi, Shalene. What? Oh, it's a blanket.
He was covering his fucking beard. Oh, I forgot. I'm still recording. So, anyways, I'm probably going to share this on Scotty's thing because I don't know if anybody recorded this call, but I did for our.
I heard on Team Dynasty there were a couple talks about Zoom meetings going on too. So
yeah,
I think some other people did it as well.
Yeah, that's what I ended up doing. But I wanted it for my team. I'm going to start doing that for all these calls because I'm going to also put it. I'm going to put them on my YouTube and just build my YouTube with these kind of calls, as well as put them on my website once it launches. So that's what my plan is. So thanks for jumping on.
No problem.
Now you're hyped up. Now's the time you get some business done.
I get off one of these calls and I work the business harder in about 20 minutes than I do in about a week.
Yeah. I couldn't sleep last night. I worked the business till like 4 a.m, almost 5:30. I think it was when I actually went to bed because I couldn't sleep. So, okay, cool. We'll talk to you later.